Yesterday was a really tough day in terms of the withdrawal. I didn't leave my house. I didn't even really leave my couch. I went from my bed to my couch all day watching movies. I watched Fight Club. That's pretty rare for me, to be honest. I don't normally just sit and watch TV all day. I usually feel like, what are you doing, you lazy piece of shit? So I have to get up and do something. Yesterday was different though. I mean, I felt sad, I felt exhausted, I felt nauseous toward the end of the night, and my headache came back. Brain zaps were pretty bad for a little bit. I felt some intense vertigo in the shower as well. But I went ahead and took another half dose last night. I've been keeping up with the half doses, and I woke up today feeling a bit better. I've just been listening to some lectures for my my biological anthropology class, which actually ends today. Yeah, then I can go ahead and just continue working on my math placement stuff so I can schedule my math and stats classes for, well, coming up here soon, about 2 weeks. Anyway, yeah. As you guys know, I did skip yesterday's video. I did have a video for yesterday that I recorded the day prior, but the issue was I recorded it in my car while I was driving and my AC was cranked all the way up. I just realized my air has been on high this entire time. I'm sorry. Hopefully you've been able to hear me, because this would be a long-ass video to have to redo. In that video, I was just kind of explaining why I am on Adderall, because I don't really think I explained it at all in the last 2 videos. I was really like rambling, and that's to be understood. That's just how I am on or off Adderall. Long story short, this might actually end up being long as well, but probably not as long as the original video. Pretty much I have never excelled academically. From the time I started 1st grade, I was already noticeably behind the rest of the class. I knew how to spell my name, of course. I knew how to count, very basic stuff, but I didn't, like, I couldn't read pretty much. Like, and it wasn't anything that my parents did or did not do. It's just I was never interested in learning until I became like an adult. So in the 2nd grade, I ended up being put on Adderall for the first time. And I didn't really know what it was supposed to be helping with. I feel like the doctors didn't really do a great job at explaining it to me. I feel like if I had stayed on it, my life, not just academically, but like my life in general, probably could have been entirely different. And the reason I stopped taking it was such a stupid, petty reason. It was because at the time I couldn't take pills. It was very, very difficult for me. It wasn't, I mean, it wasn't physically difficult. It was all in my head, of course. That was also before I realized I had very bad anxiety about everything. And I was terrified to take pills. So my mom and I would crush them up every morning and put it in applesauce. And it just became like kind of, well, for one, the taste was so bad. For 2, like, I would feel jittery and anxious and like what I just described as sick because of it. So I just started equating that to, this is why I feel sick all the time, and I just stopped taking it. Like, my 1st and 2nd grade teacher, I'm not going to say their names because I will be speaking unfavorably about them. Both of them were very discouraging to kids like me, and maybe that was just like how the school system was in the mid-90s. I feel like nowadays, probably if a kid clearly has a learning disability, I would hope, I guess, that they would be given resources, or they would be given extra time, or extra attention or be placed in a different class or something. But, and this isn't like a plea for sympathy, but you know, my first school experience was negative. My first grade teacher literally like grabbed my face, like really hard, grabbed my face and was like, what did she even say? She was like, when are you going to start doing your homework or some shit? Like, and the thing is, like, in hindsight, it's like, probably you should have just contacted my parents. I was fucking 6, you know what I mean? As a teacher literally putting their hands on me, you know, in a way to embarrass me or humiliate me in front of the class, to punish me, because it was either I didn't turn in an assignment or I wasn't getting something or something. I don't really know what it was, but my second grade teacher though, again, I will not say this person's name, but I credit most of my self-esteem issues with that teacher. She would rip papers out of my hand, sometimes so hard that like it caused like little paper cuts like right here. She would say to me, after like seeing my work or like grading something, she would literally say to me, I figured you'd get it wrong. So, yeah. My third grade teacher was a little bit nicer. I oversold how nice that teacher was, because that teacher was actually, she had her moments. Like, she had her moments where she was nice, where she was sweet, where she was like empathetic. And like, I understand, okay? Like, you've got a kid who is constantly distracted, constantly spacey, always wants to be like the jokester, doesn't really know when to be serious. I get it. But I definitely oversold how nice she was, just because she wasn't as mean as the second grade teacher. Fourth grade teacher, she was all right. I will say that. I got held back that year. And honestly, like, it was so humiliating. It was so embarrassing. It really did an extra number on my self-esteem to have been held back. However, if I were to see that fourth grade teacher, the first fourth grade teacher, actually even the second fourth grade teacher I had, I would probably, you know, shake their hand. Well, pre-COVID, of course. In my opinion, my first through third grade teachers sort of had a responsibility to either help me or give me the resources to help me be on the same timetable or whatever as the other kids, and none of them did. The first teacher, and it killed me at the time, but the first teacher who really stepped in and was like, you know, she needs to repeat the grade, was my first fourth grade teacher. So my second fourth grade teacher, she was sweet. That was the first year that I ever really did okay in school. I wasn't like the best student still, but I have no major complaints about fourth grade the second time. I mean, well, the world was shit at that time. That was actually, that was 2001, of course, so, you know, we watched the, I won't say it just in case this video gets taken down or something, but, fifth grade, I had a great teacher, and in fact, I loved him so much, I will say his name, Mr. Bierman. Now, anyone watching this who went to elementary school with me and had Mr. Bierman or even just knew Mr. Bierman, like, like, what a great teacher. He was empathetic, he was fair, he explained things in a way that helped the kids like me understand it. And also, I think it helped that he himself was a little scatterbrained sometimes, and I feel like a kid like me could relate to that, you know. Regardless of the good experience I had in fifth grade with Mr. Bierman, sixth grade kind of started differently. I started sixth grade in a different school than I ended in. And the only reason for that, I didn't get in trouble at that school really, but the only reason for that was because all of my friends went to a different middle school, and I felt really isolated and sad, and I wanted to be able to like see my friends, you know. I wasn't really making friends at the first school, and in fact, like I was kind of like a bullying target at that school. Like boys were like trying to fight me and like sexually harassing me, like grabbing my butt, trying to grab at my boobs. It was just like a nightmare, and I was just like, I gotta get out of this school. And so I went to the second middle school, and the school was really hard. Still couldn't concentrate. I didn't have any teachers that were in any way like Mr. Bierman, and in 6th grade didn't go very well for me. The only classes that I really liked were language arts, reading, that kind of stuff, and also like, of course, music, choir. But everything else I just kind of either blew off or didn't listen during. I was the class clown, because I think in my brain I just already figured I don't understand math. I sort of just withdrew from the entire like academic side of school, and I would just go to make it a social event. So you know, my group at school, we were the goths, we were the hellraisers. We would go through the halls in our like big baggy black trip pants with chains on them. We would skip class all the time, like we were the bad kids. And like I say bad kids, like we were bad, you know, we had like this bad image or whatever, but like none of us were like actually bad kids. I think the worst any of us did was like, we had this one kid who would go into Spencer's and steal Zippo lighters for us. I say for us, like I would just buy one if I wanted one, which I did all the time. We all like tricked someone at like a kiosk that sold the lighter fluid and stuff to like show us how to do it. And like none of us were smoking. Well, I guess maybe some of us were smoking, but for the majority of us just wanted Zippos, just to have like a little lighter in our pocket to look like a badass, you know. It was that group of kids. And I kind of like became pseudo famous. Like this was before like the days of MySpace and Facebook. So we would all just like talk on AIM, and like I became like, this is so dumb, but I became like the goth queen or whatever. And a lot of people knew me, a lot of people wanted to be my friend, and that was the first time I had actually experienced that, because in middle school, like in elementary school, I was definitely a loser. Like, and I'm not putting myself down, I just mean like, from everyone else's perspective, I was a loser. I think I hung out with 3 or 4 people throughout the entire 1st through 5th grade experience. And that's okay. Like, I just mean in comparison to like my reputation in middle school, I didn't really have many friends in elementary school. And I was picked on a lot in elementary school for being chubby, for being not as smart as everyone else, for having a fat face. That's what they would, like, a lot of people would say I had a fat face. I got picked on for pretty much everything. And you know, kids can be vicious. So in middle school, I felt this like, it was like liberating. It's like all these people think I'm interesting. All these people want to be my friend. Like, oh, like let's like go to the mall every Saturday and disrupt the kind people of Indianapolis. It was a very interesting time. In 7th grade, it was at that point where not only like did my parents acknowledge it, but I also acknowledged it that I really did need some sort of behavioral med. But I had already tried Adderall, and I was prescribed Ritalin when I was really little, but I never ended up taking it. Like, my mom was just kind of like, I don't want to fill my like little baby child or whatever full of meds, so no, we're not doing that. At the time, Strattera had just come out. So I didn't know what Strattera was back in the day when I was taking it. But what I now know it as is a non-stimulant version of Adderall, essentially. So I did some Googling recently and I discovered it's an SNRI. My side effects from that, funny enough, were not too unlike what I'm experiencing right now, getting off of Zoloft, which is an SSRI. And Cymbalta, which is what I credit with almost killing me like 7 years ago, is also an SNRI, which is what Strattera is. Now, I understand that it's not the exact same drug, but it is in the same class, so it's interesting to kind of look back in hindsight and understand, because when I was on Strattera as a 14-year-old, I really was like a zombie. Like, my little sister mentioned it a lot. She'd be like, well, why do you come home and like go directly to sleep? And I'm like, I don't know. I would just come home, go directly to sleep. And the crazy thing is, you know, Strattera was supposed to help me be more attentive in school, do my homework, you know, essentially what Adderall is used for. But on Strattera, I couldn't keep my fucking eyes open. It was really counterproductive in my opinion. At the time as well, there was research suggesting that Strattera actually improved your IQ, you know, improved your intelligence. And I kind of wanted to reap the benefits of that because, you know, I was at 14, I was like, I'm tired of being an idiot all the time, I'm tired of being so stupid, why can't this work, you know? And that was discouraging when after like 2 months, all it really did was make me tired. So naturally I got off of that during probably within the first semester, the first 8 weeks or whatever of school, the first 12 weeks, whatever the hell middle school is divided into. 8th grade came and went, nothing really changed. One of my best friends at the time, I won't mention her name, but we had a falling out, and I definitely take responsibility for my part in that falling out, but one thing that she said that really hurt my feelings was she was talking about how stupid that I was, how I would never go to college, how she bets I make straight Fs and all this, and I don't know, like, that really hurt because it's like, I didn't really know that anyone else figured that. I kind of just thought, like, in class when I didn't understand things or whatever, or like in group projects, if I just kind of acted like I didn't care about it, or acted like everything was a big joke, or you know, everything's funny, make a joke about it, you know, that no one would really notice that I was not very smart. And I definitely feel like I always had the capability of being smart. I just didn't see it as, I didn't see it as a priority or a necessity. I mean, it was 7th or 8th grade. I believe it was 8th grade, where the guidance counselor, who I don't have a problem with, like, I understand. As an adult, I understand completely where she was coming from. If I were in her position and there was a student like me, I would probably be asking some questions and raising some eyebrows or whatever. She kind of insinuated that I was an at-risk teenager, and that like I was on drugs, or that I was like into some bad stuff, or like I was promiscuous or something. And the thing is, like, absolutely none of which were the case. But as a teenager, I was 15 when that happened, so 8th grade. I was so fucking offended, man. Like, I caused a scene. And that was like the middle of 8th grade, and after that, I just anything I had been doing in school, I'm like, no, fuck it. Like, you know, this is what you all think of me anyway, so I'm just not gonna go. Or if I go, I'm just gonna be a little dick about it, you know. Ninth grade, I actually wrote an essay to be placed in an early college type school. Because what my, that ex-best friend I mentioned, one of the things she said to me was that I would never get into college. I would never be anything. I would never be successful in life because I was stupid. And so that hit me hard, and I applied for this early college high school. And this high school, the whole point was that while you are enrolled in the high school, you are also enrolled in a local community college, thus earning credits in college while you are still a high school student. And it worked out until it didn't. I was only there for a couple weeks. No, I don't know why I said weeks. I was there for a few months. I was there long enough to like know the teachers and long enough for me to notice the bullshit that was going on. The thing that made me actually leave the school was one of the male students, for whatever reason, was very aggressive toward me. I don't know if he was that way toward anyone else. Maybe it was that I was annoying. I don't really know. But this guy, literally, he would, put his hand on my neck. He would push me. He was fucking awful. He was big into intimidation for some reason. I still don't really understand what the fuck that was about. And I told the principal once. She was kind of just like, let me know if it happens again. And then it happened again. And so she put me in her office, and I will say, this principal was a sweetheart. Like, I have no complaints about the actual, about her, but I think she handled the situation poorly. Like, she should have separated us or done something, or at least sent a fucking letter home to the kids. Because, I mean, we were still kids. We were, what, like 15, 16? To their parents, I mean, is what I meant to say. But I didn't finish the sentence. Yeah, so like, pretty much I was being, like, badly physically harassed at this school, and really nothing came of it. Once I wrote the letter detailing exactly, like, what the student did. And I was like, you know what, I think I made a terrible mistake, and I'm gonna try the big high school that I was supposed to go to. I was like, well, you know, I'll figure it out at some other time, like, what I will do about college. But I still knew, even though I was really an academic failure, I knew I was going to go to college. It's been something that my parents have, like, they had always wanted so badly for their kids to go to college, and, like, I just felt like I would be, it's not even about disappointing myself, it was, like, about disappointing my parents, and I really couldn't let myself do that. But also, I wanted to prove to myself that I could get into college. So, entered the big high school, still had a good amount of friends. I was still not really giving a shit academically. Like, I don't really even know what was going through my mind at that time, but it's like, I had no fire under my ass to do better, because I don't really know. I just assumed when the time comes, I'll care, or when the time comes, I'll pay attention. I still wasn't really, like, convinced that I had ADHD. I was just like, oh, I'm just stupid, you know? Even though I had been technically diagnosed really on 3 separate occasions at this time. That was also before I realized that the feeling I would have in my chest and my stomach a lot was actually anxiety. I didn't really know what anxiety felt like. I just knew I felt sick all the time. So throughout high school, I skipped a lot. I skipped so much, in fact, that the superintendent or whatever the hell it was at this school, I don't really know what her position was, but she called multiple times. My mom and I both ignored her, because my mom, she's a real one. This woman ended up leaving a message on my brother's voicemail saying, this is so and such, and I wanted to let Lindsay know that if she doesn't, it was like, no, she is suspended, and if she doesn't show up the day after her suspension ends, then she is expelled. And so I didn't show up. I was like, great, that's exactly what I wanted. I didn't want to go to school. Why is the punishment for not going to school not going to school? It was awesome. I did feel guilty. I also felt terrified. I was scared that like the truancy officers were going to like come after my mom. My dad didn't even know any of this shit was going on. Sorry, Dad, if you're watching this. I quickly was like, I gotta do something then if I'm not going to school anymore. I gotta find some sort of like remedial whatever so I can still go to college. I was placed into a school that was typically used as a last resort for seniors, which if you are not from the US, I know a lot of my viewers are my family in England or in other places. So a senior means your 12th year of grade school, you know, so it's typically the last year, you know, a person goes to school before they start university, which in America we just call college. It was like a senior save program, and it was all done through an archaic system, online through modules. And it was kind of bananas because like we were doing stuff like gym class in online modules. It was so weird. You know, I'm not like any elite athlete or anything, but I kind of expected gym class to be in person because how else do you do gym class? It was like we would play, it was almost like little video games sometimes, which that was fine, but it was like we would play like tennis in the module. It was so dumb, like so understimulating. Like we would have to chart out like our daily activity, and it's like, oh, you know, to be healthy, you have to have this many hours to sleep and this many hours to work and this many hours to whatever the fuck. I would go in and like put, oh, okay, I do this for roughly this many hours and this for roughly this many hours. And it would be like, no, it's wrong, do it again. It's like, how are you gonna tell me what I do in a day? Like, I am a child. I was a teenager, but you know. So anyway, about 2 years into that, I was sort of at my wit's end. I went to kind of have a conference with the, there was no principal, I don't recall. I think there were just like assistants that helped in the computer lab. But I talked to one of those people and I was just like, you know, how far am I from graduation? Because it was getting near that time where I would actually be a senior, about to go into my last like semesters, you know. And they looked through the files and hardly any of the credits that I had earned in this program were even documented. I had just turned 18 and I'm like, well, I've been here for 2 years. Only a handful of the things I've done so far have even been counted toward my graduation, my core 40 or whatever. What other option, you know, do I have than to drop out? So at 18, marched my ass in there, dropped out, felt really bad about doing it. But the people working there, like the mentors or whatever the hell, advisors, they sort of commended me, which is so sad, like to be commended for dropping out. They were like, this is a good step. We think that this is the best choice. I don't really know if anyone really wants to hear that, but, you know, very soon after that, I kind of realized if I didn't do something right then and there, then I would become the shitty person that my ex-best friend had described. Stupid, a bum, not going to school, like becoming nothing. So I took it upon myself to find a GED program, and I'm gonna be honest that was the first time that I ever felt understood, because the teacher in this GED program, she also had ADHD, and I believe it was Tourette's, and her little brother had dyslexia. It was some combination of these things. I don't remember which had dyslexia, which had ADHD, but because of these things, this teacher had to find other ways to learn and also other ways to help her brother with stuff like math. And her teaching was so thorough and so much more helpful than anything I had experienced in any grade I'd ever been in, that by the middle of this GED course, she was actually asking me if I could help other students with the math homework. Like, I mean, anyone who knows me knows that that's insane. That's like Twilight Zone brand of insane. So, you know, I took the GED, went in with confidence, and I passed everything with flying colors, and I applied to college and I got in. And I'm still there, unfortunately. I've gone back and forth so many times on different majors, but like right before, maybe a year before COVID, maybe 2 years before COVID, when I was I hit a really hard depression because of like other things that happened in my life, plus like just my constant trouble understanding anything that was going on that wasn't English or music. You know, I just stopped going to college, and I felt like a bum. I was looking for jobs. I thought for a little bit that I could be like a singer in like the professional bands, do like corporate gigs, something like that. And that's still something I would love to do. But once COVID hit, I realized, you know, that kind of idea was sort of just a pipe dream. It doesn't have to be, but, you know, with all considered, I decided, well, I'm stuck in the house now, no job. I might as well just go back to school, finish up what I started. And that was right around the time that the entire Zoloft journey started. So just this last summer. So I'd started it during the summer. I started it in May. I believe in the last video I said I tried to stop it right before school started. That is not true. I started it for summer semester 2020, which started in May. So I did a class having just started Zoloft, and then I tried to get off of Zoloft about August when I was entering the next semester. So that's actually the timeline. You know the story from there. I knew I had to take, I knew I had to finish a Spanish course, which, you know, I knew I would struggle with, but I got through it. But then I knew next, after Spanish, was what I've been dreading for the last 10 years, which was math and stats. So before I started the Adderall, in a desperate attempt to further prolong my undergraduate career, I did some digging, noticed that not only had I earned a journalism degree shy of math and stats credits. But I also had nearly earned my English degree since I had been back and forth so many times earlier in my university career. So in an effort to, you know, further prolong having to take math and stats, I went ahead and added all these, I say all these, it's 5 extra classes. So I will actually have 2 degrees by the time this is finished, which I think is pretty fair considering I've been in school for so long. I think having 2 undergraduate degrees makes me feel like it's a little bit more worth it than ending with 1 degree after not wasting, but spending so much time there, you know. But I knew that, you know, pretty soon I'm gonna have to take the math and stats, and pretty soon is in a couple weeks. So, you know, I talked to my doctor, I explained I had been diagnosed multiple times with ADHD. I still have all the symptoms, I've just been kind of ignoring them, trying to exist as a person who can't fucking concentrate on anything. And he was super understanding. Like, my doctor knows me, he knows I don't tend to like over exaggerate when I need medication. Because I'm actually like, as you probably gathered from the last video, I'm actually afraid to take a lot of medications. Like, I get scared a lot, you know. I think that's largely from my anxiety. Can you chill, son? Damn. Hold on. I don't know if you can see me. When the sun's like this, it shows all the dark circles and all the proof that I am a 30-year-old woman. So my doctor went ahead and put me on it. I had been anxious for years to ask him about it for a couple reasons. For one, I remember I didn't have the best experience with it as a kid. And for two, you know, I have some friends who, you know, would abuse the medication. And I know that it's got a high addiction risk or high drug abuse risk, or, you know, whatever you would call it. And so like all these things kind of made me a little concerned, but ultimately I went ahead and got the prescription, and now I've been on it for this is my 3rd bottle. And things have really been looking up. And once I noticed things had been looking up so significantly on the Adderall, that's when I kind of also decided I should probably try getting off the Zoloft to see if the Adderall can help the majority of my issues. Because the less medication I have to take every day, the better. I don't like the idea of having to take 3-4 different pills every day just so I can like do my homework, you know what I mean? Or not like, well, we're not gonna get too much into my depression or anything, but it gets bad, you know? And but I'm starting to think a lot of my depression and anxiety symptoms actually stem from my ADHD, and also from like, you know, the trauma from childhood, being told that I was stupid essentially from the first day of school. And, you know, had I either had the right teachers who knew how to work with me, or had I stuck with my prescription early on, I really just feel like everything would have been different. And I mean, I won't necessarily go as far to say that, yeah, everything would have been different, but like, it's very likely that a lot of the issues I have today mentally would not even be a factor. So, yeah. Anyway, this has been a pretty long-winded video. I just kind of wanted to let you all know why I am on Adderall. And I think it's a little self-explanatory why I'm on Zoloft, or why I have been on Zoloft. Yeah, so that was my update today. Sorry, this is probably going to be a long video. Right now the camera says it's about an hour long. Can't believe I talked for an hour. I also can't believe my phone let me record a video for an entire hour. This is gonna be a bitch to edit, and I know that. But, yeah. Thanks for listening, friends. Sorry that I am a mess. Sorry that I'm a rambling idiot much of the time. I swear to God, I'm trying. All right, loves. I'm going to try to post a video tomorrow, but this is really becoming an every other day type of vlog. Let me know if you dig it. I mean, I'm really making these for me. I'm making these to hold myself accountable in this journey of like tapering off, because it's about this point, or at least the point I was at last night, where I would have just been like, no, fuck it, I'm not gonna taper. I live on this medication now. This is where I die, you know? But making these videos keeps me talking about it and keeps me conscious and keeps me, you know, keeps the goal in sight, and the goal is to get off of SSRIs. All right, talk to you next time. Bye.